G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. We had a bit of a front come through last week from the west and out western Queensland, Kangaroo area, coming through Brisbane, a bit south of us. They had quite a bit of rain. I see one of my friends' places, they got hail 2 nights, but it was just that fine, the hail. It was like snow, looked like snow on his back veranda and round his esky on the veranda and things like that. So we didn't get much out of it all. Again, must be a bit of a dome over Bundaberg, I suppose. On the Friday, last Friday was when we got most of ours, and we got about 13 mil in a couple of showers in the morning. Then at 11 o'clock Friday evening, big rumbly storm come through, and we only got half an inch out of that as well. So we have friends that are in around the Bundaberg area, and a lot of them did better. But that's that's how it is with the weather. When I can control the weather, I'll be a rich man. It's Monday morning now. I've just come back from a weekend away with Jude, and we only went up to Avondale to a friend Barry's place, and Barry's a member of our Rum City Vintage Machinery Club. There's me and Barry and about 6 or 8 of us, and we're the founding members of it. We got together, and the only reason that's on my mind at the moment is 10 years ago they're just putting a 10 years ago we formed the club, and we did it in my workshop, and there was a heap of us around town that were looking at some of the club bullshit that was going on at the time, and most clubs seem to go through that now and then, and we just thought we'd just get together. We hung around as mates anyway, so there was 6 or 8 or 9 of us or something all got together and had a meeting and formed the club. And so Alan, the secretary of the club at the moment, he's just put together the history of the club for the newsletter for the new members. I don't know how many members there is now, but I went up to the club run at Barry Lloyd Jones, my mate, my friend Barry. He put on just a weekend at his place. He has a block at Avondale and the block next door, and we all took an engine up. I took the little International M3 horsepower up. That's why I was pushing to get it done, and we went up there and we just put them in his spare block next door, and we run the engines and had a yarn and had a beer, and a couple other club members, Ian and Jenny, they catered the whole weekend, and it was great. They did a top job. If you're whinging about the food, you're just a whinging prick. It was great. We camped. Jude and I camped. We took the Land Cruiser up with the canopy on the back, and we camped at the little sports ground, which was 2 houses down the road, because a lot of people parked opposite the block there, but when I had a look at the parks, there was a couple of those old iron barks with the coarse barked iron barks, and you don't park under those bloody things. So we went down a bit further and camped in the back. Great fun, had a heap of beers and had a good laugh and a good time. It wasn't open to the public, it was just a private run, and we had people from Maryborough and Gladstone and Calliope and all around. So look, it was a great thing. Now, the 3 horsepower engine that I took up, the International M3 horsepower, I've done a bit more research on it. I thought it was a 1920 model. It's actually a 22 model. There was a list that I read, and it's just not right. I found another list, and then with my serial number, the 49,000, it should have probably a Bosch magneto on it, which was a high tension magneto and a spark plug. But there was a changeover period, and in 1922 that motor could have come out with the L-type magneto or the L-type generator and the igniter, or it could have had the Bosch with the spark plug. So I was just sitting up last night doing a bit of a read on it. It was on my mind, and it's a 1922, not 1920, and there was a crossover in those things. So I originally thought it was 1920, but it's not. We took it up, and it ran nicely all weekend. But as you know, the generator here, this is off the engine. I've just pulled it off. I could start the battery, I could start the bloody tractors. You could start the engine with a tractor battery, putting 12 volts straight to an igniter to ignite the spark, and you hook that up and you just pull the flywheels over and poof, off she'd go, no cranking. But without hooking the tractor battery to it to give this igniter, this isn't even the one, this is a spare one I'm doing up from another engine I have. Yeah, without the tractor battery, I could put a crank handle on, I could wind my guts out and no go. So, but as soon as I put the tractor battery on, we're right. So you can see I've got a few L-type magnetos here. Now, they're not for sale. Everyone's looking for these L magnetos, and you can see I paid $450 for this one a while ago, and I've got engines for them all. I've bought engines without them in the past, so over the years I've bought a few up, but what I'm going to do is I don't want to have to take a big tractor battery. You know, if I take that engine to a show or something like that, I don't want to take a big tractor battery and a car coil and do all the wiring up to get it going. It was just a pain in the bum. So you want an engine that you can roll down off the trailer and just give them a flick and off she goes, and that's how they should be. So I've taken the generator out, or everyone calls it a magneto, but it's a generator. It's actually an AC generator. And so yeah, I've taken that out. I'm going to do a little video on just how I test them and that. It's just, people might be interested, might not. But yeah, I couldn't remember the voltage. I had in my mind that if I spun these over with a Makita drill, I should have around 17 volts. But look, it's been that long since I played with these things that, yeah, I'm just not 100% sure. So I'm going to run through those again. There's, yeah, a couple. This is off a little 1.5 horse that I have under the bench. I've got to shift tractors to get the little motor out even. And it's running at the moment at about 13 to 15 volts. These two are running 4 or 5 volts, you know, 7 volts maybe. And this one that's been on the engine, that's been through the flood, it's only running about 5 or 6 volts. So, but that 5 or 6 volts, apparently with the engine running, that's enough to keep it running. But just, and I've slowed the engine down. The engine was doing 611 RPM. They're 3 horsepower at 600 RPM, but it felt like it was racing to me, so I've slowed it down. I haven't checked how slow I've got it, but I pulled a bit of speed out of it just for sure, and I was worried about this keeping up. But I'm going to have a fiddle with this to see if I can get it running so I can take it to a show. Now, for those who just look at the tractor side of my channel, I haven't put a lot of engine stuff out there in the past, and I've still got a heap of engines around, but I've sort of got into the tractors and I'm enjoying that with the business, and I always take on too much, that's all right. I dance around, I'll work on the T20, then I'll work on this, but I was working on this engine to get it to the show, which I've done, but now there's a few little other jobs I've got myself into, and one of them's I've had the timber cut to make a nice cart under these engines for bloody years. I've got a couple of wheels rolled in the wheel roller that I haven't put spokes or hubs in. That's been there for years as well. So, so this engine, I'm just going to try and finish it off so I can take it to shows. In between working on the tractors and things, it's just a bit of variety, so we'll play with that. You may notice on the channel that I've taken the merchandise shelf down, and we put the merch shelf on, and I got a test. I had to buy off myself test products just to see what they were like, and I bought t-shirts, and I ordered a navy t-shirt and it come out bloody Makita blue almost. I ordered a black t-shirt. The shirts I sell in Australia on the Bundy Bear Shed website, like a 2XL's a little bit large, tight on me, and a 3XL seems to be fitting nice. So I thought I'd buy a 3XL from America, from Spreadshirt. Well, I could swim in the bloody thing, and the colours like the shirts we sell in Australia that we get properly screen printed in Australia, the colour and the definition of the tractors and all that is really crisp and really clear. The stuff out of America, it's not real good. And I just wasn't happy with it. You know, where the ones we have in Australia got done, my face was clear, the tractor colour was crystal clear. The Massey 135 shirt I got, well, yeah, they put the ink on that bloody thin that on a black shirt that you can, the paint's not bright Massey Ferguson red. It's just a dull bloody. You can see the black coming through nearly on it. So I wasn't happy with the quality. So I've pulled that for the moment. If you look at Spreadshirt and things like that, the little store we started it's still there. But I've got to talk to them about quality. If the quality doesn't get any better, it's not good enough. And so yeah, we'll just see. I'd rather sell nothing than sell shit. And so that's off the YouTube channel for the moment. The ones you buy out of the Australian side are good quality, top stuff, but we've only got the TE20 done. I didn't go and get more of the different models done because I have to have quite large batches of them done. And yeah, they weren't going that well at the moment, so I sort of didn't think I'd worry for a little while. So anyway, we're not sure if we're going to continue with that. Yeah, it's one of those things. We are thinking about like doing a Patreon thing where anyone that wants to support the channel can do it through there. But then I've got to work out, you know, if someone supports the channel through Patreon, you know, what benefits do they get for chucking a few bob in, apart from watching videos that show them how to fix their tractor for free, which they can watch anyway. So, you know, there'll never be a dollar fee on that. It's just help everyone out, make everyone's hobby cheap. So anyway, we'll worry about that. It's not a business. I like it to cover costs. And Sparex being on board is great. These fellas are supposed to be on board, but I don't know, we'll see. But Sparex, look, just a great help to the channel with that. And the channel makes a little bit off YouTube that we can, you know, buy a few knickknacks, you know, a bit of gear and things like that. So, so I'm looking at retiring soon, and I'd like the channel to fund itself. I don't want it to be a drain on Jude and I in our retirement years. I'd like it to actually make a couple of bob. Doesn't have to make a heap. Just if it could be self-funding and leave a bit of gravy in there for a bit of workshop equipment or workshop supplies or things like that, that'd be great. So we'll see about that. We don't know how that's going to go. We'll just see. I went for a walk around with the video camera at Barry's Do on the weekend. So we're going to finish off the stew with that. And it's just a walk around. A couple of interesting things came out of it, and I've got a International M 6 horsepower igniter engine once more. I seem to like them. Igniter engine on the original horse-drawn cart with the seat and the whole bit of. I probably haven't showed you ever, but it's over behind a couple of tractors. But I ran it and I took it to a couple of shows and ran it, but it had a little knock in it after I bought it, and I've probably had it 10 years or more now. And I pulled the end cap off, and on the big end bearing, on the conrod, they're a Babbitt metal, a poured white metal bearing. Well, the sides were breaking away on it, so I parked it. And one of my gunner jobs was to pour a new white metal bearing, and the big 10 horsepower that you see up in the pallet racking, I bring down every year and give a run. The big 10 horsepower, I poured all the bottom end bearings for that, made the moulds and all that, and that was okay. So I thought with this engine, like it's taken me 10 years, so I don't want to rush into stuff, but it's taken me a while. And anyway, I looked on the internet the other day, and a place called Flywheel Supply in America does the 6 horsepower big end bearing. So I emailed them, and I've waited a few weeks and I didn't get an email back. So I emailed them again and said, you know, I've sent you a thing about buying this bearing and sending it to Australia, even though it cost a bit. I wouldn't worry me really. And yeah, would you send it to Australia? And they come back and said, no, at the moment we don't want to send parts to Australia. So there you go, that's, that's buggered that. Hit and Miss Enterprises in America. I've bought parts off them in the past, a long time ago when old Ed run it, Ed Deese run it, and look, it was great service, but everyone's saying don't go there now. And I see they've got a bearing for $68 American. And so, you know, we got to add 35, 40% on that, plus probably double it for freight. So, so they've got them, but everyone's saying, my mate Barry, he's had parts on order at Hit and Miss for 3 months, and he's sent orders. He sent emails saying how we go and what are the parts. He's not even getting a return email. So, so I'm just not going to go there. I may just have to pour one, which was the original plan. It's just as you get busy, yeah, away you go. We went camping on the weekend, and you know, me and Jude are sitting down having a cuppa yesterday morning, and I was saying, God, I feel bloody tired. You know, probably played up too much on the weekend, and I went to bed at 9 o'clock, and but she says, oh, you don't have a rest ever. She says, that's your trouble. And even on my days off, I'm up the shed at 6, and I'm still off and up here at 5 or 6 in the afternoon. So she says, you do 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're working or whether you're home or not. So she said, you just need to bloody slow up. So anyway, I don't know. I enjoy what I do. I come up the shed here and fiddle around, and yeah, it's just a good place. Yeah. What else am I going to do? So anyway, but look, that's going to be the stew. There's not a lot in it this weekend, mainly because I was away. I haven't done much in the shed. Yeah, I've been away socialising, having a bit of time off. So that was good. I'm going to finish the stew this week with that video. So look, thanks for dropping by, everyone. Yeah, try and stay safe, and we'll catch you next week, eh?
Oh, I can drag it.
Yeah, good.
This is under full compression. If you don't hold the valve open on this, it actually jumps over it and it runs on full compression.
Oh.
You remember lending it to me?
Yeah.
I always thought when I see you, I'll give it back.
Oh, yeah, no, you have it.